And at that meeting, did Mr. Giuliani raise any specific allegations of election fraud again?
His initial comments were, again, the litany of groups of illegal individuals or people deceased, etc. And he had brought that up. And then I proceeded to question him on the proof that he was going to bring me, etc. He did ask, do we have the proof, to Jenna, Miss Ellis? And she said, yes, we have all the information. I said, can you get to me that information? Did you bring it with you? She said, no, both Mr. Giuliani asked her and I asked generally if they'd brought it with them. She said, no, it's not with me, but we can get it to you. And I said, then you didn't bring me the evidence.
Did one of them make a comment that they didn't have evidence, but they had a lot of theories?
That was Mr. Giuliani. My counsel both remembered that specifically, and afterwards we kind of laughed about it.
Rusty Bowers there, Republican in Arizona, is the not even just the Republican in Arizona, but also it's the speaker of the Republican House there as well. His testimony to the January 6th committee talking about Rudy Giuliani, Jenny Ellis, trying to flip the election and forcing him to do so in his state and how he rejected that. That's a big problem because now the Arizona GOP Executive Committee is exacting some revenge on him. And it's a bit of, because of the truth that he told, they're like, we have to do something about this because there's too much truth happening. We're the Republican Party. We deal in lies and misdirection. So of course, the party chair Kelli Ward cited all of these reasons for their censoring him. Here's her tweet. She goes, the AZ GOP Executive Committee formally censored Rusty Bowers tonight. He's no longer a Republican in good standing. And we call on Republicans to replace him at the ballot box in the August primary. Full press release from the AZ GOP coming soon. So here's a bit of that full press report, which by the way, it's not everything here. They mentioned things about his support for LGBTQ folks, their right to exist. Let's get beyond all that stuff because that's the first problem they have. But just at the end of this first page of this letter, it says there's a bunch of whereases. Whereas Bowers, this is part of their censure reasoning. He ensured killing all meaningful election integrity bills, named a couple of them, and prevented Republicans from committee debate, floor debate, and working on a product of those bills that would have addressed many of the genuine and unresolved concerns following the Senate audit. What does that mean? It means we don't like that he wasn't a part of the same part of us trying to change rules since we tried to just do it nefariously behind closed doors at the behest of Donald Trump and his cohorts. Let's try and put it in some kind of actual policy and platform in our state so that we don't have to deal with this whole illegality thing anymore. Let's just change it. And he wasn't a part of that, so therefore he should be censored, kicked out of the party, not win anything ever again. Now, Bowers is actually very aware of this opposition pushback. He also talked before about how he's getting death threats overwhelmingly in his office to the point where they can't do any other work. And he said this, he said it's so hostile. He said it's in a news interview with NBC News. And he said this overwhelming pro-Trump preference of his state Senate district, which is Arizona's 10th. And he's gonna try and win it again, of course. And he said, if I pull this off, it's gonna be a miracle. He definitely understands that. What are your thoughts on this? Because by the way, these are Republicans who are like, this guy's a total anti-Republican. Can't believe he would actually do something like tell the truth. And then after that, not support us trying to flip this in another way. How could he?
And Rusty Bowers, although he's now walking it back a little bit, he said he would support Trump again in 2024.
100%.
Now he's having a few different thoughts, but he also gave a pretty emotional testimony about like how deeply he felt this was wrong, how deeply he did not want to undermine the democratic process. I think he like read a poem or something like this. He went there. And let's remember though, the Republicans in Arizona are insane. This is Paul Gosar's party. Gosar was involved with the MAGA idiots like Ali Alexander who helped plan the Stop the Steal rally. These are people who should not actually be in office anymore. And I think maybe today we're gonna get more insight into Gosar at the January 6th hearings as they continue. So Rusty Bowers has a reason to hold on because maybe there will be some sort of accountability coming out of all this. Mind you, last thing I'm gonna say, the GOP in Arizona tweeted quote tweeted Ali Alexander when he said, I will die for the president on January 6th. And they wrote, he's willing to die. Are you? Official
Jesus.
Arizona GOP Twitter account. They were in cahoots. So good on Rusty Bowers, for sticking his neck out.
And I think he would still continue to vote for Trump. But again, how's that loyalty working out for you? As you point out there, how is that working out for you now? It's such an ongoing, continuous conversation about I have to have my loyalty to Donald Trump, loyalty to Donald Trump, loyalty to Donald Trump, loyalty. And every time they ask for that 1% of loyalty back, or at least even just saying, yeah, I understand where he's coming from. It's in order to be in good standing with Donald Trump, you have to be absolutely disloyal and disconnected from the truth or anyone who kind of leans in that direction, which I'm only gonna give Rusty that much. He's just leaning in that direction now.
R.I.P. Mo Brooks, man. I mean,
oh my God.
Bye.
Mo Brooks, bro. Come on, let's keep it real.